A 5-year-old girl approaches a man in a suit, trembling as he sits on a bench in Madrid. Her blonde curls frame a tear-streaked face, but her eyes shine with a determination and desperation that would break anyone's heart. "Sir," she whispers in a shaky voice, "can you pretend to be my dad just for one day?" The man looks up from his financial newspaper. He is Alejandro Herrera, CEO of a multinational tech company worth €2 billion, the most powerful man in Spain's technology sector. He's never had children, never wanted the responsibility of a family. His life has been built on meetings, profits, and success. But when his eyes meet those of this little stranger, something inside him breaks and rebuilds itself at the same time. "Why?" he manages to ask, his voice cracking despite years of multimillion-dollar negotiations. "Because tomorrow my mom is going to die," Sofia replies with the brutal honesty only children have. "She wants to see my dad one last time, but my real dad doesn't exist." What happens in the next 24 hours won't just change the life of a desperate little girl, it will forever transform the soul of a man who thought he'd forgotten what it truly means to love. Alejandro Herrera had never felt silence so deafening. Sitting on the bench in Madrid's Retiro Park, the newspaper still open to the stock listings, he stares at the child looking at him like he's her last hope in the world. Sofia Martinez is 5 years old, wearing a slightly oversized white dress and shoes that have seen better days. But what strikes Alejandro isn't her modest clothes, it's her eyes. Eyes that hold a wisdom no child her age should have. "My mom has cancer," Sofia continues calmly, as if talking about the weather. "The doctors say she doesn't have much time left. She always talks about how much it hurts her that I've never had a dad." Alejandro feels an icy grip in his stomach. In the last 15 years, he's built an empire. He's moved millions with a single phone call. He's changed the course of entire companies. But nothing has prepared him for this moment. "You can't just ask a stranger," he starts, his voice softer than it's ever been. "You're not a stranger," Sofia interrupts. "You always read the newspaper here. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mom and I pass by on our way to the hospital. She always says, 'Look at that elegant man. He looks like the perfect dad.'" Alejandro feels his heart stop. This child has been watching him for weeks, studying his routine, building an image in her mind of the father she never had. "Sofia, I don't even know how to be a dad." "I don't know how to be a daughter either," she replies with a smile that lights up her tear-stained face. "But we can learn together, right? Just for one day." Alejandro looks into the eyes of this tiny warrior and sees something he'd forgotten years ago, the purity of unconditional love. A love that asks for nothing in return, just the presence of someone who cares. Where do I need to go?" he asks. As the words leave his mouth, he knows his life will never be the same. The Ramon y Cajal Hospital at sunset feels almost surreal. Alejandro walks the disinfectant-scented hallways, holding Sofia's small, warm hand, feeling more nervous than when he signed his first €100 million deal. "She's really strong," Sofia says as they ride the elevator to the oncology floor. "Mom always cries when she thinks I'm not looking, but I know. Grown-ups think kids don't understand, but we understand everything." Alejandro looks at her and feels an emotion he can't name. This 5-year-old has more courage than most of the executives he's ever met. "Sofia, if your mom asks me questions." "I already told her everything," she interrupts with a mischievous grin. "That your name is Alejandro, that you work with computers, that we met in the park." "I didn't tell her you're rich because she'd worry." Alejandro stops in his tracks. "How do you know I work with computers?" "Because you always read the section with the tech company numbers. And because when you talk on the phone, you say words I don't understand, but they sound important." This little girl has studied him better than any private investigator ever could. She's noticed every detail, built a perfect profile without ever being noticed. They stop in front of room 204. Sofia pauses, and for the first time she looks like a truly scared and fragile 5-year-old. "Mr. Alejandro," she whispers, "Mom is really thin now, but she's still the most beautiful person in the world." "Okay. Alejandro kneels to her level and, for the first time in years, looks someone in the eye without thinking about profit or strategy. Sophia, I'm sure your mom is beautiful, and I feel honored to meet her. Sophia cups his face in her tiny hands. Thank you for being my dad, even if it's just pretend. It's the best gift anyone has ever given me. As they open the door, Alejandro realizes what he thought was a kind lie is becoming the truest thing in his life. Carmen Martinez is sitting up in the hospital bed, her hair covered by a colorful scarf, her face worn by illness but lit with a smile that fills the room when she sees Sophia holding Alejandro's hand. Mom, Sophia says excitedly, this is Alejandro, my dad. Alejandro feels the world stop. Carmen looks at him with eyes full of tears and gratitude. In that moment, he understands she knows exactly what's happening. She knows he's a stranger. She knows Sophia planned it all. But all that matters to her is that her daughter is happy. Alejandro, Carmen says in a weak but warm voice. I finally get to meet you. Sophia talks about you all the time. Alejandro approaches the bed, his heart pounding. Carmen, he starts, but she motions for him to come closer. Thank you, she whispers in his ear so Sophia can't hear. I don't know who you really are, but thank you for giving my daughter something I never could. Alejandro feels tears welling up. She's the one giving something to him. Over the next 3 hours, Alejandro experiences something he's never known, being part of a family. Sophia tells him about school, her friends, the drawings she makes for mom. Carmen shares stories about her daughter, her dreams, her fears. Sophia wants to be a doctor when she grows up, Carmen says, stroking the girl's hair. She says she wants to save all the moms and dads in the world. So no kid ever has to be sad like I was, Sophia adds. Alejandro looks at this broken but loving family and feels an overwhelming sense of belonging. For the first time in his 42 years, he feels exactly where he's meant to be. Alejandro, Carmen says while Sophia is distracted with a drawing. I don't know what you've done today, but you've made my daughter happy. When she's alone. I hope she remembers this day and knows real love exists. Alejandro takes Carmen's fragile hand. Carmen, can I come back tomorrow? She smiles through her tears. Sophia already asked you to take her to school on Monday. I think you're stuck with us, Mr. CEO. Alejandro startles. How? Alejandro Herrera. Herrera Tech. Your picture was in the paper last week. But it doesn't change anything. Today you're not a CEO, you're just Sophia's dad. That night, Alejandro doesn't go back to his luxury apartment in Salamanca. At Sophia's request, he sleeps in the hospital room's armchair. Carmen rests with the help of medication while Sophia falls asleep curled up beside her mom, one little hand reaching out from the bed to hold Alejandro's. At 3 a.m., Carmen wakes up. She sees Alejandro sitting in the chair, watching over them like a silent guardian. Can't sleep? She asks weakly. I was thinking, he replies. Carmen, how do you do it? How are you so strong knowing you're going to die? Carmen smiles sadly. Because I have Sophia. Every day with her has been a gift. And today you gave me the greatest gift, seeing my daughter happy. Alejandro moves closer to the bed. Carmen, there's something you need to know. I never wanted a family. I always thought kids were complications. But today Sophia taught me something I didn't even know existed. What's that? Unconditional love. She looked at me and decided I was her dad, no conditions, no expectations, just pure love. Carmen takes his hand. Alejandro, I don't know what will happen after I'm gone, but if you could stay in Sophia's life, even as a friend, an uncle. Carmen, Alejandro interrupts firmly, I want to adopt Sophia. A heavy silence fills the room. Carmen looks at him in disbelief. Alejandro, you don't know me. You don't know anything about my life. I know you raised an extraordinary girl all by yourself. I know you filled her with love despite everything. I know you deserve for someone to take care of the person you love most in the world. Carmen begins to cry quietly. Alejandro, Sofia isn't easy. She's stubborn, smart, asks 1,000 questions. She's perfect, Alejandro says, and as he says it, he realizes he means it completely. Carmen, let me give her everything you would have wanted to give her. Let me be the father she deserves. Carmen looks at her sleeping daughter, then at Alejandro. In this stranger, she sees something that calms her, genuine love for her child. There's one condition, she whispers. Anything. Promise you'll always talk to her about me. Promise she'll know her mother loved her more than life itself. Alejandro takes both of her hands. I promise. And I promise Sofia will grow up knowing she's loved by two people who would have done anything for her. Carmen Martinez dies 3 days later, on a Tuesday morning, while Sofia is at school and Alejandro is by her side. Her last words are, "Tell her mommy is waiting among the stars." The funeral is small but full of love. Sofia wears an oversized black dress Alejandro bought her and clutches a drawing she made, of Mom, Alejandro, and her together under a rainbow. Mom turned into an angel, Sofia tells Alejandro after the ceremony. But you're staying with me, right, Daddy? Alejandro kneels and pulls her into his arms. Forever, little star. Forever. 6 months later, Alejandro's Salamanca apartment is unrecognizable. The marble floors are covered in toys, the walls plastered with colorful drawings. The kitchen always smells like cookies. Sofia has learned to bake them using the recipes Carmen wrote down for her. Daddy, Sofia says one night while they do homework together, do you think Mom is happy with us? Alejandro looks at his daughter. Because now Sofia truly is his daughter in every way, and sees Carmen in every smile, every gentle gesture, every moment of pure joy. I'm sure Mom is so proud of you, and I'm sure she's happy I get to have the most extraordinary girl in the world. And I'm happy you're the best dad in the world, even if you only started learning a little while ago. Alejandro laughs. You know the secret, Sofia? You don't have to be perfect to be a good dad. You just have to love a whole lot. And you love a whole lot. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. Sofia falls asleep in Alejandro's arms that night, and he stays awake watching her breathe, thinking about how the desperate plea of a 5-year-old girl turned a cold, calculating man into the richest man in the world, rich in love. 5 years later, 10-year-old Sofia Herrera races excitedly through the hallways of Herrera Tech, her curls bouncing as she runs to find Dad in his office. Daddy, Daddy. I got a perfect score in science. Alejandro looks up from his documents, his face lighting up when he sees her. The employees smile. Everyone knows Spain's most feared CEO melts like ice cream in the sun whenever Sofia appears. Tell me everything, Professor, he says, scooping her into his arms. I did a project on stars, and guess what I learned? When a star dies, its light keeps traveling through the universe forever. Like Mom. Alejandro feels tears in his eyes. Sofia talks about Carmen often now, and always with joy, not sadness. She's turned pain into beauty, just as her mother taught her. And I have a surprise for you, Sofia continues. She pulls a drawing from her backpack. It's the Herrera family, Alejandro, Sofia, and in the sky among the clouds, a beautiful woman with flowing hair smiling down at them. That's Mom watching over us, Sofia explains. My teacher says when we love someone who's gone, the love never leaves. It stays right here. She touches her heart. Alejandro hugs his daughter and thinks back to the day a desperate little girl asked him to pretend to be her father. He had no idea that request would make him a real father, a complete man, a better person. You want to know a secret? Sofia asks. Yes. The day I met you, you saved me. I was a sad man who didn't know what love was. You taught me. And you taught me that real dads aren't just the ones who make you. They're the ones who choose to love you every single day. That night, as they do every night for the past 5 years, Alejandro and Sofia light a candle for Carmen. But now it's no longer a moment of sadness, it's one of gratitude. "Thank you, Mom," Sophia says, looking at Carmen's photo on the nightstand, "for giving me the best dad in the world." Alejandro looks at the photo and whispers, "Thank you, Carmen, for giving me the most extraordinary daughter in the universe. For teaching me that true love doesn't need blood, just heart." The story of Alejandro and Sophia shows that family isn't only the one you're born into. Sometimes family is the one you choose, one hug, one day, one love at a time. And the purest love often begins in the most desperate moments, when a brave heart has the courage to ask, "Will you be my family?" When the answer comes from love, it's always the same, yes. Forever.